I love long journeys. They give you time to think, recharge, and get things in perspective. For me, they are all about what happens on the way and not the destination. I like the natural rhythm of getting up, walking or climbing all day, going to bed and doing it all again.
But this is John. He's done these sort of things for years now, and it's become part of his life.
It's a beautiful morning. What a place. This is what I come for.
Pilgrimage is a great thing to do. It has a long history and tradition and involves people going to special places.
You know, I am not a religious man, but sometimes you just think, is this really all just a coincidence?
I'm not alone, but over time I've become part of my surroundings. It's about a sense of freedom, a chance to experience my beautiful home very intimately. And that's why I felt called to develop a new Lake District adventure, which I've called the Lakeland Pilgrimage. It's 175 miles, but these are mountain miles. The pilgrimage involves 18,500 metres of up and 18,500 metres of down. That's like climbing Scafell Pike from sea level 20 times, or Everest more than twice. The pilgrimage also visits 7 natural cathedrals. These are the places that raise the pulse and inspire a real sense of awe. They are off the well-beaten path, and the pilgrimage seeks out other secret places. It also offers the option of 20 scrambles and easy climbs. I like to think of it as a painting on the canvas of the Lake District, where these different elements make up a very special experience. It's one I want others to share. This is a very special journey for me, because it starts and finishes at my house, and because I have a very deep connection with this little part of the world. And it's not every journey that starts with a bishop's blessing. Off we go. Long Sleddle is a truly beautiful part of the Lake District. It's not the most dramatic landscape, but it's a very natural place, and it's my home. It can take a little while to get into a journey, but once I started descending into Kentmere, I started to forget about the everyday and immerse myself in the experience. I know these fells quite well, but there's always new corners to visit, and there's a few little surprises. Been fishing, you say, in the lake?
Yeah, some
What you caught?
Small brown trout.
The rain comes and goes over to Haweswater, but by the time I reach Brothers Water, the sun is beating down. I'm meeting my friend Nigel at the inn. We share a pint before heading off to our overnight bivvy near Priest's Hole.
The drink is. Go and lie down.
I've known John 6 months, a year maybe. We met through some mutual friends and I heard about his exploits in the Alps. So I thought, this guy's got a story to tell. I have to do some more of that.
Right, it's a beautiful evening. It's about 7 o'clock, so we're almost there. You can see down to the valley. And now we're just about to get to Priest's Hole up here. Quite like, actually, in the night when you're in a bivvy bag, you got your face open to the air, and I really like that. It's different to being in a tent.
Yeah.
You really feel like you're outside, and I love actually lying on the ground, you know, because one of the reasons I came on this trip was to feel really connected to my environment.
So see the torch, that's inside Nigel's tarp, which took a mere 2 hours to erect in the desired fashion. So, but I'm sure it was worth it.
Oh yeah.
Luxury.
It's a palace.
Yeah. So, good night.
One of the things I really like about the lakes is it's kind of a subtle beauty. It's not like massively over the top in your face like the Greater Range is. It's kind of, you have to search it out a little bit. Yeah, okay, you can drive to one of the car parks and look across the lake and it's nice. But if you know where to look, and if you get a tip, there's these places that at the right time, on the right day, are genuinely as amazing as anywhere else on the planet.
This is the view at about 3 o'clock in the morning this morning. It's really calm now, there's no wind. Best time of the day, sunrise. Just set off just after 5 o'clock. Nice morning. Still. What a place. This is what I come for. This is one of those thin places where the distance between you and heaven is reduced. One of those beautiful, peaceful, still moments. From the peaceful coves, the route takes a splendid line along Striding Edge and the hillside above Ullswater. So you never know who you meet. This is Dan, who is... You're the second quickest person to do the Munros continuously? Yeah. So he's up here, running along Striding Edge. There's also something about meeting strangers on the road that makes them friends. As a rule, I think we tend to focus on our differences, but on the hill we see what we have in common.
Are you really navigating from this?
Yeah,
because
that
I
would be
can't,
impressive.
I can't actually see anything.
Yeah. The pilgrimage then crosses Sandbed Moss to Blencathra. I expected this to be a dreary bog trot, but dramatic light can make even the dullest moor look spectacular. That's the thing about journeys, they're full of surprise encounters. Just the big face-off. Do you think the cow's gonna move, or am I gonna go round? I'm gonna go round. I've already run over 20 miles, and I've got another big climb ahead, but it's Blencathra, and that's a real mountain. Gendarme. After 13 hours on the go, I was needing a bit of encouragement at Threlkeld. And then I pay a quick visit to Castlerigg Stone Circle. It's not a religious site, but it feels special. And finally there's the golden hour. This is my favourite time of day, when everything's mellow and the world is at peace. So it's day 3, we're down by Keswick, the launch. Lovely morning, the mist parting, it's a real peaceful morning. I feel pretty ropey. I'm trying not to think about 12 hours of hard effort ahead and just enjoy the moment now, which is really nice and peaceful. A morning like this soon gets you going though. And I'm privileged to have the whole mountain to myself. I love fell running.
In an age where everything is controlled and planned, this is ultimate freedom. After the run off Grassmoor, Buttermere is a place to still the soul. But a second adventure awaits. This time it's climbing. I love the freedom of scrambling without ropes. Almost every child loves to play on rocks. It's a very natural thing, feeling the rock and searching out holds. I guess I'm still a child inside, and this is my playground. After the climb, the weather closed in. But fortunately, there's a little surprise on the flanks of the mountain. I shan't tell you where it is. You'll have to find it for yourself. All too soon, I have to continue in the rain. Shall we say that Hasness Gill is one for the connoisseur on a wet day? Bit like a hanging garden of Babylon up here, as the rain comes down. That was desperate. Sort of thigh-deep heather, really slippy slabs. And the heather was obscuring all the rocks and stuff, with a bit of a drop. You know you're alive. Harder to appreciate the finer qualities of the mountain. So this is Newlands Church, and it's a really good place to reflect, I think, on the day. And I just went in there, and the silence really hit me. I mean, there's so few places where you get silence. I mean, outdoors, it's not silent. You hear the water, you hear sheep, you hear, the wind. And there, it's absolutely silent. It's incredible.
I think there are two different types of value of walking on foot. One of them is a value of pace or speed. You move more slowly, you're moving generally about 3 miles an hour. And that allows you to fall into step with other people, it allows you to travel at the same pace as animals, but above all it allows you to see things and hear things much better than you can speeding on a bicycle or in a car. The second great advantage, of course, to walking is that you can go places where you can't get in a vehicle. Places that are too steep, that are too far off the road, and it allows you to approach places from unexpected angles.
Oh, I feel tired this morning. But I have a really good night's sleep, and it stopped raining. I feel pretty dead this morning. Probably do with another 5 hours sleep. But I'll have to get up in a minute. But listen to those birds singing. There's a really good spot here in the trees. It's really dry. Oh, I could do getting to bed.
The day starts with a traverse of Glaramara and the fun little scramble up to Dove's Nest Cave. But it's principally about the mountain cathedrals. The Lake District doesn't boast any official cathedrals, but it does lay claim to several natural ones. These are the rock pinnacles and cliffs that I find more awe-inspiring than any man-made cathedral. The pilgrimage visits 7 of these cathedrals, and I'm paying homage to 2 of these magnificent places today. First up is the Napes on Great Gable, which is home to the eponymous Needle, and is the birthplace of English climbing. But my favourite is Pillar Rock, a natural cathedral if ever there was one. I can't help but feel very small in such a powerful place. It's awesome in the truest sense of the word. Magnificent as they are, cathedrals aren't great places to live. After hours of rock, it's great to hit the soft grass. And the highlight of the day is yet to come.
Well done, John boy. How's it going, lad?
Good.
Good to see that.
Yeah.
Good.
Joss Naylor is a part of the Wasdale landscape. He's someone I really admire, not only for his amazing running feats, but also for his understanding of the mountains. Reflecting on experiences is an important part of any pilgrimage, and it's great to end the day by sharing stories with Joss.
Your run finishes here at your
It
house.
does, that's the only part about it, like, because
Yeah.
I like to be there when they come in, like, you
Yeah.
know. And I think there was one of the lads who was mentioning, he said, we're going to put a film together about this. He said, why the hell does anybody run all the way from Pooley Bridge just to shake your hand? I said, well, just ask the man.
Yeah.
On a fine day, the hordes descend on the roof of England, but the pilgrim can take a road less travelled beside Piers Gill. It's a wild, untamed place, and I feel like a Victorian explorer by keeping near the edge. The exploratory air continues by traversing over to Pikes Crag and taking the right-hand crest of Coronation Ridge. You'll likely meet the crowds on Scafell Pike summit, but it's not far over to Scafell Crag, another magnificent cathedral. Yet it's not just about big mountains. Sometimes the small things are just as extraordinary as the big, if only we take the time to look. Don't bore this, look at nature. And if you can see the spider's web with the raindrops. I've started to notice things that I never did before, and I wonder how I ever missed them. They've always been there, but now I'm seeing with new eyes. Isn't the world an extraordinary place? I mean, how does long grass and even a little tree grow out of a huge boulder like this? The real world is so much more interesting than fiction. Eskdale is a wild and beautiful place, but by the Duddon Valley it was raining hard.
So as you can see, I'm a bit soggy. Got to the top of Harterfell and it absolutely pelted down with heavy rain. It was like somebody had just switched the shower on. Now at the new field inn, so I'm going to, fortunately, I can have a complete change of clothes here and it's a nice fire. Lovely. Thank you. Oh, that looks good. It's good stuff. Right, I've got to say, this beats sitting outside, soaking wet and cold, and eating my soggy sandwich, but this is hot apple cake.
The weather didn't improve after the new field inn. There are times when it's just a case of head down and grind it out. Top of Broomfell, it's absolutely raining cats and dogs. It's grim up north. But there's always hope. Just when you think the storm will never pass, it does. The parting of the clouds seems to promise a better tomorrow.
How are you feeling this morning?
Okay, I'm tired. You gradually degrade on these trips and all my muscles were aching in bed, so I had to take painkillers. So I'm getting to the stage where I think I've had enough in one go, so I'm going to try and get home, which is quite a long way. It's 58k, I think, so I've got a long day ahead of me. But some things don't go to plan. I ended up having to run from Coniston to Rydal with nothing more than a featherweight top and shorts. No money, no food, no phone, and no water. In desperation, I spent half an hour drying my shirt under a hand dryer in the toilets at the old Dungeon Gill. Then got it wet again within 30 seconds. The rain was torrential, and I was reliant on body heat to see me over the Langdale Pikes. Yet it's intense experiences like these where I feel plugged into the natural energy that just flows through creation. And in my vulnerability and weakness, I'm dependent on the generosity of others.
The shop was really busy, and John came in and he was soaked to the skin. He was really like a drowned rat. He was really quite shaky. I thought he was hypothermic, so we gave him some gingerbread, and he went off to Rydal Hall, where he knew somebody, to get some dry clothes.
So I answered the door, and there was John on the doorstep. It didn't look quite like John, very wet, very cold, bedraggled, maybe even a bit disorientated and definitely exhausted. I could see that he was very cold and wet. Of course he had no dry clothes, so I found some clothes for him to put on. I didn't have any men's running clothes, and I do a little bit of running here and there, so he had to go in my running clothes, which are a little bit pink and flowery.
I feel humbled by the whole experience and was blessed by a series of spectacular views back over the Lake District Fells. After the storm came the sun and the opportunity to reflect on the journey. I cannot think of a better way to conclude a pilgrimage.
In the long run, the best experiences are the worst. It's not the tops, it's not the high valleys, it's not the glorious sunsets and the high fives on the top. It's when you broke your leg and you had to crawl down the mountain. It's when you got caught out in that storm in your t-shirt and you honestly thought you were going to die and you didn't. Those low points, when you look back, they're the standout moments. They're always the stories you pull out in the pub. They're always the formative moments that really make you who you are.
Okay, so this is my 7th day. Yesterday I finished about 5 to 9 in the evening. Really glad to get here. It was a really long, hard day. But today's my day of rest. So here we are having scones on the patio, and one thing that I've offered for anybody else that completes this pilgrimage is tea and scones on the patio. So how about that for an incentive to do the pilgrimage?